Hey everyone, welcome to a story that's been burning inside me for months now. Grab your coffee, settle in, because this one's gonna take us deep. We're talking about a small town in the heart of the Midwest, Elmwood, Illinois, population 4,200 on a good day. A place where everybody knows your business, your dog's name, and exactly how much you owe at the hardware store. On one side, you've got a town literally teetering on the edge of disappearing. Boarded-up storefronts, for sale signs on half the houses, kids leaving for college and never coming back. On the other side, there's this guy, Mr. Raymond Henderson, who everyone quietly called Ray the Broke behind his back. Worn-out cardigan, second-hand boots, always walking that same old beagle down Maple Street, like he had nowhere else to be. People would see him at the grocery store, counting pennies for a loaf of bread, and just shake their heads. "Poor Ray," they'd whisper. "Nice guy, but he's got nothing to give." These two pictures, dying town and broke old man, seem like they could never touch. But what if I told you they were connected in the most unbelievable way? What if the guy everyone pitied was the only reason Elmwood didn't become a ghost town? We're about to pull back the curtain on the silent architect of our comeback, a man who lived like he had nothing so he could give everything. Before we dive in, if you're already hooked, do me a favor, hit that like button right now. It really helps these stories reach more people who need to hear them. And if you're new here, subscribe, turn on notifications. Elmwood wasn't always like this. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was thriving. A textile mill on the east side employed almost 400 people. A bustling downtown with a movie theater that still showed double features on Fridays. And that 4th of July parade? You could feel the pride in every float, every marching band. But then the mill closed in 2008. Globalization, cheaper labor overseas. The usual heartbreaking story. Jobs vanished overnight. Families packed up, moved away. The theater went from one movie a week to none. The community center's roof leaked so badly they canceled bingo nights. People stopped believing the town even had a future. And right in the middle of all that decline, there was Raymond Henderson. Ray lived in a small craftsman bungalow, corner of Elm and Pine. Same house he'd grown up in. Same house his parents bought in 1952. White clapboard, green shutters faded to gray, flower beds he tended religiously, even when the rest of the street looked forgotten. He was in his early 70s when the real trouble hit. Retired from, well, nobody really knew what. Some said the mill for a few years, others thought traveling salesman. All anyone knew for sure, he lived alone, never married, no kids, and he never seemed to have two nickels to rub together. I'd see him at the diner every Tuesday morning, same booth, same black coffee, same tip of $1 and change. He'd nod politely, "Morning, folks," and leave without fanfare. At town council meetings, when they begged for donations to fix the park or keep the library open another year, Ray sat in the back row, arms crossed, never raising his hand. People noticed. They talked. "Ray's got nothing to give," Mrs. Whitaker from the library board would sigh. "He can barely keep the lights on." At the coffee shop, the regulars had running jokes. "If Ray ever wins the lottery, he'll probably spend it all on dog food and fertilizer." Laughter would ripple through the room, not cruel exactly, but comfortable. It was easier to pity him than to question why he never asked for help himself. I remember one winter, must have been 2015, when the pipes froze in half the houses on the east side. The town set up a relief fund. People dropped off canned goods, blankets, $20 bills. Ray showed up with a single bag of dry dog food and a note, "For the shelter animals." Someone muttered, "Figures." No one thought twice. But here's the thing that always stuck with me. Ray never complained. Never played the victim. Never asked for a handout. He just kept his head down, kept his garden growing, kept walking that dog. And when the town started getting small miracles, nobody connected the dots to him. Not yet. Quick question for you. Have you ever looked at someone in your life and thought, they've got nothing going for them, only to find out later they were carrying a whole different story? Drop a comment below if that's happened to you. It makes you rethink everything. Alright, if you're still with me, and this is starting to hit different, give this video a thumbs up. It tells the algorithm to show this to more people who need quiet heroes in their feed. Subscribe if you're not already. Share this with someone who thinks they know everything about their neighbors. Let's keep going. By 2018, Elmwood was on life support. The last grocery store, Harrington's Market, was about to close. Owner Tom Harrington had the building up for sale. No buyers, people were driving 30 miles. Just for milk and bread. Downtown looked like a movie set after the apocalypse. Weeds through sidewalk cracks, windows taped over. The mood was grim. At the bar on Friday nights, the conversations were all the same. This place is done. Then the first miracle happened. The old Majestic Theater, built in 1927, marquee still lit with half the bulbs burned out, had been scheduled for demolition. The bank foreclosed, wrecking crew booked for June. But 2 weeks before the deadline, an anonymous wire transfer landed, $180,000. Exact amount needed, back taxes, new roof, updated projection system. The theater reopened with a free showing of It's a Wonderful Life. The lines stretched around the block. Nobody knew where the money came from. People speculated, Rich alum in Chicago, lottery winner from Peoria. Conspiracy theories started. Probably some developer wants to flip it later. A few months later, the community center got a brand new HVAC system and a repaired roof. Again, anonymous. The contractor said the check came from a shell company out of Springfield. Clean, no strings. The town council was stunned, but grateful. They threw a ribbon-cutting barbecue. Still no name. Then the bakery, Sweet Rise, the little shop on Main that had been limping along, got a mysterious investor. Not a loan, an equity stake. Enough cash for new ovens, 2 more bakers, extended hours. Suddenly, lines for cinnamon rolls again. Owner Maria Lopez cried on the local news. I don't even know who to thank, she said. They want to stay anonymous. They said it's better that way. One by one, these quiet interventions kept coming. A scholarship fund for high school seniors who wanted to stay local, start businesses. New playground equipment at the park. The library, fresh paint, expanded hours. Each time, the source was untraceable. People started calling it the Elmwood Angel. I was skeptical at first. Thought maybe a foundation took pity on us. But something felt off. Why Elmwood? Why always just enough to keep us afloat? Never flashy, never demanding credit. And why did the timing always feel so perfect? Like someone was watching, waiting for the exact moment we were about to break. One night at the diner, I overheard 2 old-timers debating it. Gotta be somebody local, one said. Nobody else cares this much. The other laughed. Who? Ray Henderson? He'd have to sell his house to donate $20. They laughed. I didn't. I started paying attention. I noticed Ray was always around when something big happened. Not front and center, but nearby. Walking the dog past the theater. The day the lights came back on. Buying coffee across the street when the bakery reopened. Coincidence? Maybe. But I started wondering. Have you ever had that feeling in your gut that something doesn't add up? Like the puzzle pieces are right in front of you, but you can't see the picture yet? That's exactly where I was. If this is starting to give you chills, smash that like button for me. It keeps these long-form stories alive. We're about to start connecting the dots in a way that changed how I see everything. Share this video. People need to hear that real heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear old sweaters and walk dogs. I didn't set out to expose anybody. I was just curious. I started digging quietly. Public records, property deeds, business filings. I wasn't a detective, just a guy with too much time and a nagging feeling. First thing I found, Ray had inherited money. A lot of it. His father had been a quiet investor in the 50s and 60s, stocks, real estate, a few patents. When the parents passed in the early 90s, Ray inherited the bulk. Estimates varied, but north of $3 million back then. Adjusted for today, closer to $7 or $8 million. But Ray never spent it. He lived on Social Security and a small pension, maybe $1,800 a month. House paid off. Drove a 1998 Ford Taurus. Maintained it himself. Groceries and generic brands. Clothes from thrift stores. He wasn't poor. He was deliberately minimalist. Then the trail got interesting. I found shell companies, 3 of them registered in Illinois, all tied to post office boxes in Springfield. Each one made donations or investments in Elmwood projects. Same lawyer handled the paperwork. Called him. Wouldn't talk, but didn't deny it. Client confidentiality, he said. But I can tell you, the gentleman is very private. I kept going. Bank statements through public filings showed transfers from Ray's accounts into those shells. Year after year, he'd liquidate stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Slowly, methodically. Never big enough to raise red flags. Never all at once. Just enough to fund the next project. He'd been doing it since the late 90s. Before the mill closed. Before anyone knew the town was in trouble. He saw it coming and started preparing. Why the secrecy? I finally got a piece from an old friend of Ray's, a retired accountant who handled his taxes for years. He didn't want to talk at first, but after I promised anonymity, he opened up. Ray told me once, he said, that if people knew he had money, they'd treat him different. They'd ask for loans, expect favors, try to be his friend for the wrong reasons. He wanted the town to save itself, not because a rich guy bailed them out, but because they believed they could. He said anonymity was the only way to keep it pure. That hit hard. Ray had chosen to live broke, so the town could rise on its own terms. Every dollar he gave was a sacrifice, not just of money, but of pride, of comfort, of the easy life he could have had. When I finally confronted him, gently, on his porch one spring evening, he didn't deny it. He just smiled, that small, tired smile. I never wanted to be a hero, he said. I just wanted to give people a chance to be heroes themselves. I sat there stunned. The man everyone had dismissed was the architect of our survival. If your jaw is on the floor right now, you're not alone. Hit that like button if this just flipped your understanding of generosity. Subscribe, we're heading into the final part, where the town finally learns the truth, and everything changes. Share this video. People need to hear that real kindness doesn't need a spotlight to change everything. When the story broke, first in the local paper, then on social media, then regional news, Elmwood stopped breathing for a minute. Maria Lopez from the bakery was the first to speak publicly. She stood outside Sweet Rise, tears in her eyes, and said, I thought I had a guardian angel. Turns out, it was my neighbor. I used to feel sorry for him. Now I feel ashamed and grateful beyond words. The theater owner, Mr. Patel, organized a special screening. Free admission. Ray was invited to the front row. He tried to refuse, but the whole town insisted. When the lights dimmed, they played a montage before and after photos. Dark theater, then bright marquee. Empty streets, then bustling sidewalks. At the end, a simple title card. Thank you, Ray. The place erupted. Standing ovation. People crying. Ray sat there, head bowed, dog at his feet, looking like he wanted to disappear. Afterward, the town threw the biggest party in decades. Barbecue in the park, live music, kids running around. Ray didn't make a speech. He just walked around, shaking hands, accepting hugs, looking overwhelmed, but peaceful. The mood shifted. People started talking differently. Instead of, what can the town do for me? It became, what can I do for the town? New businesses opened. Young families moved back. High school kids started a mentorship program. The library launched a community garden. Ray's idea from years earlier. Ray himself never changed. Same house, same dog, same routine. But now people stopped him on the street not to pity him, but to say thank you. He always waved it off. Wasn't me, he'd say. Was all of you. In one of our last conversations, I asked him why he did it. Community isn't something you buy, he told me. It's something you build. I just cleared a few obstacles so people could build it themselves. That's all. He passed away 2 years later, quietly, at home. the way he lived. The funeral was standing room only. No one called him Ray the Broke ever again. So here's the question I leave you with. Who in your life have you written off because they didn't look the part? Who might be quietly changing the world around you while you aren't looking? If this story touched you, if it reminded you that real wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in what you do for others, then like this video, subscribe for more stories like this, and share it. Share it wide, because the world needs more reminders that kindness, real kindness, doesn't need a spotlight to change everything. Thanks for sticking with me through all 4 parts. This was Ray's story, but in a way, it's all of ours. See you in the next one.